Recently, the website tvline.com interviewed the executive producers of Cobra Kai, Josh Heald and John Hurwitz. In said interview, the pair disclosed a lot of new information about the upcoming Season 5, such as what's going to happen to Miguel when he gets to Mexico, why did he abandon Johnny in the middle of the tournament, and even Tori and Robby's future. There is plenty of info to go through, so in this video, we will be discussing this interesting interview. The article for tvline.com was written and published by Nick Caruso. The first question asked to the creators of the series was, quote, Miguel walks away from the tournament just before his final fight. Why does he make that decision, and what's going on in his head? Josh Heald, we've seen Miguel rise to the highest heights, and have even seen him win the All-Valley tournament. We wanted to position the Miguel/Johnny storyline in Season 4 in a more personal way, in terms of how Miguel is approaching this tournament, how he's reconciling who he is, and how he's figuring out his relationship with Johnny as that's evolving. Johnny is a sensei and a father figure, and we wanted to really lean into that. Besides Sam and Daniel's father-daughter dynamic, these are really the only other characters we can do this type of storyline with. It was important to us, with so much karate rivalry, to make sure that we're experiencing some of that real teenage coming-of-age relationship stuff as well. Miguel is getting ever more conflicted in terms of who his mentor is, who his role models are, and who has his best interest at heart. Is he getting sucked into something that's not a rivalry of his own making, or that's not a battle that he has a personal space in at any given moment? We wanted to put Miguel and Johnny in a position of them not being on the right page with each other at the right time. They both have internalized motivations as to where they want to be at this point in their lives, and what's really itching at them. In a way, Miguel's decision is a split-second one, and in a way, it's something that's been brewing the whole season. By the time they realize they're on different pages, it's too late." End quote. This is something we've already discussed in our previous video of how Johnny is going to find Miguel in Mexico. Johnny thought that the way to find happiness or a purpose was by winning the tournament.
Everything you've learned, everything you've been through, was just a warm-up for this moment. Alright, it's time to show the world what you're made of. Give it your all. Do what I tell you. We'll not only take down Cobra Kai, we'll show LaRusso and everybody else who's really the best. That's what this is about.
But that's not what Miguel wants. This made him stop fighting and start questioning his father figure or mentor. Miguel feels lost because he doesn't know what he wants to pursue in life, meaning that Season 5 is also going to be very personal for Miguel. Continuing with questions about Robby and Tori, quote, Robby and Tori are both left at a very interesting crossroads at the end of the finale. What can we expect from their stories heading into Season 5? Hurwitz, Season 4 was a very significant season for both Robby and Tori in different ways, but also we see them come together in a relationship. Robby is sort of ready to open his arms to Johnny after all these years, which is something I think a lot of fans have been waiting to see, and something we've all been rooting for a long time.
And I had all this hate inside of me, for you and for Miguel, and I thought I could use Cobra Kai to control that. But it just made things worse, and now it's never gonna get better.
You had a good thing going with LaRusso. I got in the way of that. Don't blame yourself, you blame me.
I'm sick of blaming you, Dad.
So we'll see how Robby and Johnny's relationship continues. Will they fall back into their old ways, or is there continued progress with them, especially with the wrinkles of Johnny's tight relationship with Miguel and his relationship with Carmen and all that? We're further exploring Robby and his allegiances, and Season 5 is another substantial season for him. As for Tori, she's a champion. It's something she's wanted, and she doesn't have all of the advantages of a lot of the other teens on our show. She has a sick mother and comes from very little. So to be a champion is something that's going to be meaningful, and hers alone. But to find out at the end of the season that legitimacy of that championship is in doubt in her mind gives us an interesting place for her to move on from. How is she going to respond to that? She felt like she had something special and pure, and she can go in any number of directions off of that kind of bombshell." End quote. What he mentions about Robby is interesting because he said that they're going to explore the changes in the rocky relationship between him and his father, and how this affects their relationship with Miguel. We recently saw the leaked photographs of Miguel and the Lawrences in Puerto Rico filming the Mexico scenes, so Robby might be a fundamental piece in Miguel's rescue. On the other hand, what is mentioned about Tori is also interesting because the producer mentioned that her victory is very meaningful for her, but she doubts the legitimacy of her championship. Maybe she will train harder this time to beat LaRusso fair and square, or maybe the doubt and frustration about the legitimacy of her win leads her to retire. As the producer of Cobra Kai said, she can go in any number of directions. The next question is about Chosen and Anthony's relationship in the new season. Quote, Anthony finds the scroll that Chosen gave to Daniel last season. Is there anything you can tease about that? And will it come into play down the road? Healed answers, there's always a chance you're going to find out more about the scroll or more about the history of Miyagi-Do, but there's nothing we can tease at this time. We will say that it was tied directly into Daniel seeing the original scroll for the crane technique, which introduced the idea that these scrolls do exist. That second scroll that Chosen gave Daniel when he was in Okinawa, I think some of the assumption was, oh, maybe he was giving him that crane technique scroll. But no, there is this new scroll, a new technique. It was there to introduce to the world that there are other scrolls. There is a history there. End quote. This somewhat confirms several theories that suggest that Chosen will train Anthony in new techniques so that he can defend himself against Kenny. But this leads us to wonder, just as there are these secret Miyagi-Do scrolls, are there some secret dark techniques in the Cobra Kai style of fighting as well? And if so, what would happen if a young Cobra uses these scrolls against Miyagi-Do? And the last question of the interview about Season 5 was, quote, you recently wrapped up production on the next season. Is there anything else you can tease for Season 5? Healed answered, we obviously know that Chosen's coming back into the fold, and Daniel, who we find at the ultimate depth of his loss, is feeling defeated and feeling like he made a deal with the devil. He's realizing that to allow Miyagi-Do to be extinguished this way doesn't sit well. There are times where the fight has to change. And what better moment than for Chosen to come back into the story and to lean into that part of Miyagi-Do? Chosen is somebody who ties into the more aggressive past, where fighting wasn't about a contest, it was about life and death. He still feels like he owes Daniel some help, and he wants to make amends, even though Daniel has forgiven him. From that alone, I feel like audiences can infer the energy with which Season 5 is going to begin. There are quite a bit of storylines that start spinning very fast and very aggressively as we enter next season. End quote. So far we've only seen one side of the Miyagi-Do karate style, the defensive side, mostly used for sportsmanship or contest. As the producer of Cobra Kai said, Chosen doesn't fight for sport. For him, it's about life. And the fact that he mentions that this next season will start aggressively leads us to think that we will see a confrontation between Chosen and Silver. The Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang students will have to learn new combat techniques, not to win a championship, but to go to war against Cobra Kai. So what do you think? Are you looking forward to the more aggressive Season 5 of Cobra Kai? Please don't forget to like and subscribe as we continue to make daily content here on Hypnos Mirror.